Speaking of teams that deserve to be discussed, and we've been discussing the Philadelphia Eagles all season because they haven't lost, and they still haven't lost. They remain the only undefeated team in the NFL. They're 7-0 after just wiping and demolishing the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday, 35-13. So they're the only remaining undefeated team in the NFL. And so I think the question becomes, obviously, you can compare the NFC to the AFC. And a lot of discussions have been had about, well, are the Eagles the best team in the NFL? For the sake of this argument, I want to keep this to the NFC and ask, okay, are the Philadelphia Eagles the best team? Clearly the best team in the NFC. Because from the macro lens, in the AFC, to be honest, I actually still think that the Buffalo Bills and even the Kansas City Chiefs are probably better than the Eagles. If they had to play each other on a neutral field tomorrow, I think I'd take the Bills or the Chiefs. But regardless, I'm not someone who's just going to instantly dismiss the accomplishments and the achievements of one team. I'm not about fantasizing and hypothesizing and projecting what can happen. What's important is to highlight what has happened. And what has happened on the field is the Philadelphia Eagles continue to roll through every single opponent that they have. And that's why they've got the best record in the NFL. So in the NFC, it's deserving to say that the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the NFC, because I do think you have to honor what they've done on the field. First of all, they've been the healthiest team. They still are the healthiest team. They've been, most importantly, the most consistent team on a performance basis every single week. We've pretty much received the same exact performance week in and week out. Obviously, against the Steelers, they were coming off a bye, so they had a little bit more time to rest up and prep for that. So that's why you're able to see A.J. Brown pop off for 3 touchdowns, arguably his most productive, from a stats perspective, productive game of his Philadelphia career. They've got the most balance, you could argue, in the NFL and in the NFC right now, because they're top 3 offense and they're top 5 defense. So offensively, they've got the best offensive line in football, which has helped lead them to the best running attack in football. They're getting great quarterback play out of Jalen Hurts. They obviously have a ton of weapons. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Miles Sanders. Jalen Hurts is an additional runner as well. We've obviously seen him use his legs all season. Defensively, they've got the best turnover margin and turnover differential in the NFL. They're making quality trades. They're getting pressure on opposing defenses. So everything about the Philadelphia Eagles screams they have no weaknesses, which is true. They don't have any weaknesses, but they do have some concerns. And I do have some concerns about the Philadelphia Eagles. It's not a weakness. These aren't weaknesses, but question marks that I do have. And one of the concerns is their struggles to score in the second halves of games. Now, obviously, yesterday against the Steelers, it wasn't a problem. But coming into the matchup against Pittsburgh, the Philadelphia Eagles had been outscored by 22 in the second halves of games played this season. And it's hard to really discern and decipher why that is the case. Perhaps it's because they continue to just build leads and they run the football and they play a little bit more conservatively in the second half. That could be it. But so far, that's been a little bit of a concern to me. Why is it that their offense isn't clicking as much in the second halves? Which is what leads into the second concern, which is they've never really trailed. I'm not sure how this team performs when they're playing from behind. Now, to their credit, they haven't put themselves in that position because they've been so dominant in the first half or in the first 3 quarters that they've never really had to mount a major comeback in the second half or in the fourth quarter. But I would like to see how this team operates when they're trailing in the fourth, maybe when they're trailing by 2 scores at some point in the game, just to see if they continue to trust the run and they continue to be effective running the football when they're trailing, or are they only effective running the football when they're leading? I think that's a legitimate concern. I think the final concern, and again, this is need more proof of concept, is Jalen Hurts in the postseason. Can he deliver in the postseason? Now, I was on record. I've been a big believer in Jalen Hurts. I was on record the day after he made his second half appearance on the road at Green Bay 2 years ago, where he replaced Carson Wentz. The Eagles lost on the road, but they made it a dicey fourth quarter game against the Packers. Then he made his first official start the following week on the road at Arizona against the Cardinals. And I thought from that game, he earned the job, that the Eagles should just move forward with Jalen Hurts as the starting quarterback. I'm on record saying that. So I believe in him. And I think that he can be a great quarterback. I really do. I think he's got the work ethic, which is most important. He does have a lot of talent, but again, most importantly, he's willing to put in the effort in the lab to get better. And we've been seeing how much he's been getting better every single year. But again, I have to see him prove that he can deliver in the postseason. If he can deliver in the postseason, then that will kind of mitigate some of my concerns, because those are the 3 concerns that really one could only have with the Philadelphia Eagles. But again, the question is, it's not, are they the best in the NFC? Because I think that they've proven, yes, they're the best team in the NFC. They're the most consistent team, but are they clearly the best team in the NFC? And that's where I push back and say, not so much. Because there's one team that I think the Eagles have to be wary of, and that's that huge developing Thanos-ringed creature called the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are just bloated. It's scary how good this team can be. It's really scary how good this team can be. And I don't really care what their record is. Their record is 4-4, but you look at their talent. This is the most talented team, not only in the NFC. You could argue the entire NFL, from the top of the roster to the bottom of the roster. This 49ers team is arguably the most talented team in the NFL. They are absolutely stacked. And as a Rams fan, I just thank my lucky stars every time I go to bed that the Rams were able to win and capture a Super Bowl last year. How they got through this team last year, I still am not really sure, because they've just had the Rams' number. Kyle Shanahan has had Sean McVay's number for years, at least in the regular season. The 49ers are just stacked. And now with the addition of Christian McCaffrey, adding a new element of dynamism and dynamic playmaking to the team. He had 3 touchdowns yesterday, rushing, passing, and receiving touchdown. Yesterday, the offense is just going to continue to take another level. So you add Christian McCaffrey to a foundation of Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, and Kyle Shanahan in that defense. And I'm a bigger believer in Jimmy G than a lot of other people are. The only thing you can do to the San Francisco 49ers is you have to hope that you have a good pass rush to induce Jimmy G into making some mistakes, or at least being a little off target in his passes. And conversely, you have to have a strong offensive line to hold up against the 49ers' pass rush. Now, fortunately for the Rams, those were the 2 recipes for success last year. And fortunately for the Eagles, that is an area that they are really strong in. They've got the best offensive line in football. That's why they traded for Robert Quinn, to try and improve their pass rush. So the Philadelphia Eagles are equipped to handle the 49ers, but I'll be honest, the 49ers, to me, they're a team that I don't even think is necessarily lurking because people know of them, but their 4-4 record, I think, has allowed them to kind of buy themselves time, and people aren't talking about them as much. 49ers are a handful, and they're almost impossible to defend against. The schemes, then again, Kyle Shanahan just drawing up different plays. So I'd be wary of the San Francisco 49ers. Again, right now, sure, the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the NFC, but I don't think it's clearly because the 49ers are coming. 49ers are coming.